If you're thinking about moving to Portland, but you're hearing about all that crazy stuff going on in Portland, is the city in crisis? Is the city okay? Is it safe? We're gonna get into all that right now. Hey everybody, my name is Cullen. I'm a local real estate agent right here in Portland, Oregon. So if you guys are thinking about making a move to Portland, go ahead and reach out. My information's right down there in the description area. Shoot me a call, send me a text, send me an email. I'm here to answer any questions you guys might have. Okay, now let's get right into it. So I want to take you guys for a walk with me. I'm starting right here in the University District, and I'm on Broadway. You know, the news really likes to sensationalize how bad things are in Portland. And you know what? Yes, things were bad, especially downtown here during COVID, during the riots. And so we're gonna kind of get into all that. I actually did another video last year, if you want to check out that one after this one, so you can kind of see, hey, is there any difference between last year and this year? And yes, I think absolutely there is. We have a lot to unpack and get into today, so let's get after it. So I want to start with one thing that everybody always talks about is, hey, the streets are dead, no one's out and about. Well, it's Thursday afternoon, it's about 12:30, so people are out and about getting lunch. There's a lot of cars driving around, as you can kind of see. I want to walk downtown. I've seen other videos where they're just walking along the river walk or something like that, and that's cool, but I want it to be in the city, in downtown, so you guys can see, hey, what is it like right here? I'm not cutting anything out other than to cut out my mistakes or to make it more pleasant for you guys. So I am noticing a lot more people out and about and walking around. And you can see that in here, people passing by me. In 2019 and before COVID, were there a lot more people? Yeah, absolutely there were. But do I feel safe down here? Yes, absolutely, 100% safe. Now at night, it's gonna be a different story. I wouldn't recommend, you know, all hours of the night hanging around downtown. I think that goes for most places with the downtown area. You know, did it used to be safer? Yes, absolutely. You know, before COVID, let's also talk about the police force. We used to have about 1,000 police officers, and now we're in that 800 range. And the city has put in some initiatives to hire more police officers. So they are working on that. The community definitely has spoken about that. They want more of a presence. So like when you're out and about and walking around down here, I'll usually see one driving around, but I never usually see any police officers just kind of walking around downtown. So I personally wouldn't mind more of a police presence. And I know that's something the city is working on because during COVID, you know, they had a lot of police officers also quit or retire during that whole thing and with the riots and then the public uproar about some of the incidences that happened at that time. But now the public has kind of changed course on that, and they're like, hey, no, we want the police here. You know, we want to feel safe in our city. And here's an unmarked police car I'm passing by right now. Hey, so that's good right here. And here's the Portland Theater right here behind me. And that's where the Portland Symphony plays. The architecture down here is just really amazing. And this time of year is just so pretty. You can see with all the leaves changing and everything all behind me. I mean, I just think this time of year in Portland is really special. Next, let's talk about the homeless issue and the tents that were running rampant during COVID. As you can see now on my walk, I haven't seen one tent so far walking from the university area over into downtown, you know, where we are now. And again, I'm on Broadway. This is one of the main arteries through downtown. I haven't seen one tent yet. Have I seen a homeless person? I think a homeless person just passed by us, kind of hard to tell. But let's talk a little bit about that. So the residents really have made a big uproar about the homeless situation here and the tents. During COVID, they allowed camping out in the streets, and now they're pushing through an initiative to outlaw camping, you know, in the city streets. Now, there's some really cool programs going on right now to help clean up our streets and make them safer. One of them is the Northwest Community Conservancy. Now, this is a really cool program, and actually one of the local news stations did a little piece about it, and I'll show you a clip right here.
There's been a noticeable energy shift. Yes, there's still crisis on our streets, businesses haven't returned, but community groups are organizing, not waiting for change to happen, instead making a difference for Portland's future.
You know, being angry and, you know, just continually perpetuating a negative image of the city you live in is really lazy, and you're not doing anything to change anything, and there's absolutely nothing creative about being angry unless you can capitulate that into something positive. And I think a lot of people are doing that right now, and that's very positive.
One group actively working to make change is the Northwest Community Conservancy. Within a handful of months, it's made a noticeable difference, helping homeless get sheltered and neighbors feel safe.
And our whole goal was to try to improve livability, safety, and the business environment in the Pearl, because what we saw happening was being downgraded by the lack of presence of the police and services to clean the community up and helping the people that were homeless get off the street. We get about 50% of the people that LOA works with on the street into a shelter and into services. The other 50%, we might get them in there eventually, but it'll take a little longer because the shelter bed's not available.
Now this is not even to do with the city. It's a private organization. The citizens got together and they made this company, this fund, this organization, and they get local businesses to pay into it. And what they do is they have a hotline number, and you can call in if there's a homeless person camping out, or if you see someone in front of your business, then you can call in, and with 8-minute response time is their average response time, they'll have someone come out, talk to the homeless person, and try to get them into temporary housing and get them off the street. It's such a cool program, and I think just such a great idea, and it just shows the resiliency of the citizens in Portland. I mean, the city really is what the citizens make it. And Portland was such a great city and is such a great city. And we do have a ways to go to get back to where we were pre-COVID. Honestly, I don't think the city is gonna be that exact same city. It's gonna be different because we went through something with COVID, with the homeless population, with the riots, with all those things that happened. And now a lot of the city businesses, obviously not all of them, but a good amount of city businesses left downtown. And so that just creates more of a vacuum there, more places for people, to shelter between doorways, companies, that have shut their doors. So now the city is also providing tax incentives where they've created certain zones where there'll be, I think it's for 4 or 5 years, there's no property tax if that company comes in and starts a new business or leases some space downtown in these different pockets that they've designated. Hey, that's an amazing program. That's really good. I mean, that is definitely going to attract businesses. So the city has heard the citizens. They're trying to put in these different programs to attract new businesses down here. And then the more businesses you get, the more people go to lunch, people shop, coming and going from work. The city has also made about 60% of their workforce come back to work that works throughout the city. So they were almost all of them remote, the ones that could be, and now 60% in downtown and higher percentages in other areas are coming back to the office. And so they said they were trying to lead by example to get other businesses to do that as well. And one of the cool things that the Northwest Community Conservancy program does, their whole purpose is to try to get tents and people off of the streets. And it started in the Pearl District, and now they're talking to the Nob Hill, the Northwest District, to try to expand it into those areas as well because they've had such good success. Just as an example, right before August, in July, there was an average of 50 tents, because they'll do a tent count at night each day, and they had counted about 50 tents just in the Pearl District alone in July. And then by end of August, they had that down to 15 tents down from 50, and that was August. And there's probably even less now because here we are in November. So that's a really cool program. And again, that's the community coming together and not waiting for the city to solve all the problems. And that's one of the really unique things that I like about Portland. The city's motto is keep Portland weird. One of the things that comes with that is community pride and involvement, everybody kind of chipping in and contributing something in a positive way. Everybody wants to feel safe and come downtown. There's so many cool things to do down here. Parks, bars and restaurants, museums, go to the symphony, art shows, galleries, a Saturday market. The city has also ramped up the amount of homeless shelters that they have, and they have a bunch in the pipeline as well, plus more have already rolled out. I think that has also helped, that there are more beds now in Portland as a reaction to this. And it does take a while, so they are building a lot more beds and housing for homeless. It's just gonna take some time for that to ramp up. One of the other things that also contributed to the homeless situation and it being a little bit more dangerous down here was the fact that drugs for personal use were legalized, and the government didn't do a good job of rolling that out. They didn't put in all the centers to help addicts. They were about 2 years behind the law. They were supposed to be coming out in unison together, and so that was really botched. And at the same time, COVID happened, and then you have more homeless people on the streets. All those things kind of came together for that perfect storm that we're now digging our way out of. The vibe that I get from the citizens is that people are pissed off. People are upset that the situation that the city let the camping and the homelessness, all the drug use get to the point where it did. And so now we've seen a big improvement from last summer. And again, I shot a video last summer, and you can check that out. And even from the previous 6 months before that, it had improved. And now from this last year, it's already improved a lot. Now again, we still have a ways to go, but it's definitely improved a lot. I personally have friends that come out from Los Angeles and other cities have come out to visit. They're surprised at how well the city is doing, how well it feels, and how safe to them it feels compared to everything they had heard in the news over the last couple of years. They were expecting it to be just like the city's on fire and feel super dangerous and just a real kind of crap show, but they were actually really pleasantly surprised and really liked Portland, the ones that hadn't been here before. There's also 3 city projects, major redevelopment projects that the city has in the works. And I think all 3 of these are really gonna vastly improve the feel of downtown, and with all the money that these projects have coming into it and the redevelopment, it's gonna bring in a lot more residents and commercial spaces and things for people to do and for families to do and learning centers. One of them is the Broadway Corridor project, and that project is gonna be where the old post office used to be in Old Town. And Old Town is one of the kind of the hot spot for the crime. And you just look that up on the crime map and you can see, hey, where's a lot of the crime downtown, and it's in that Old Town area. So they're doing this huge 16-block redevelopment project where they're just like leveling the old post office and a bunch of buildings all in that area. And that's happening right now. And they're gonna redevelop that into mixed use, more housing, have affordable housing, have higher normal housing like condos, and they're gonna have commercial spaces down below, and they're gonna have a new park go in there, and they're gonna expand the greenway. So then it'll go all the way through there and up over along the bridge so you can get over on the other side of the Willamette. And it's really gonna be this highly redeveloped area that kind of merges between Old Town and the Pearl District. And here we are right in front of Pioneer Square right here. So let's go take a walk through here, because this is always kind of a hotbed for vagrancy and homeless. So you can kind of just get an idea, hey, in a typical afternoon, what is it like through here right now? Oh, they got the Christmas tree about to come in right now. Let's check that out. And another project that the city is working on right now is called the OMSI project. Now the OMSI is right across on the Willamette on East Portland, right across from downtown. And the OMSI is really cool. We take our kids there all the time. But this project is gonna be really cool. They're gonna expand 10 blocks of redevelopment. And again, that is gonna be a mixed use from condos to apartments to commercial spaces, but they're also gonna be specially designated places for extending the OMSI, so more learning centers for kids and families and adults.
The OMSI district is a bold new idea to create an innovative new neighborhood for Portland that is rooted in innovation, science, learning, arts, and culture, and that is truly an inclusive place where people of all backgrounds and identities feel welcome to come and play and explore here.
They're also going to have part of it along the waterfront there, and it's going to be designated to Native American heritage. So they can have some learning centers in there about the heritage of the Native Americans, that used to be all up and down the Willamette, 200 years ago. So that's another really cool project. And again, these projects are going to be like in the, over the next decade in the making. Now, the third project is called the Albina project, and that one actually is like a 3-decade project, and they have a private donation of $400 million. And they're going to redevelop about 19 acres of land. And that project is on the east side as well. And that's eventually going to have 2,200 residential housing options. Some of it also is going to be designated for low-income qualifying. Here's a little bit of information about it right here.
70 years ago, it started with major construction of I-5, then Veterans Memorial Coliseum, and in the 70s, Legacy Emmanuel Medical Center. In the name of Portland Progress back then, the historically black, thriving community of Albina was decimated. Now private entities are stepping up to rebuild. A multi-decade commitment that will eventually have 2,000 housing units and hundreds of thousands of feet of commercial space near the Rose Quarter and Veterans Memorial Coliseum.
This is not something that we will be finished with in the next 5 to 10 years. It's a 25, 30, 40, 50 year vision, right? For, as I said, not just 94 units of affordable housing, but 94 acres of restorative redevelopment.
So with all these projects going on, all this reinvestment down here, and not to mention they just finished a Ritz-Carlton down here off of Broadway. So that's another really big project that they put a lot of money into that building, and they're betting big on that. I mean, each of those units is $1 million just for one of those condos for like the base model. Pretty crazy. Seattle doesn't even have a Ritz-Carlton. So that tells you something where a lot of business people with a lot more money than me are reinvesting into the city and betting big over the next few decades. And I think a lot of this area we're going to see really ramp up, see it change. More people are going to come down here. And again, during the day, I always feel safe, walking around here. Wouldn't recommend it at late at night, but I definitely have come down here, meet friends, for dinner or go to a pub, and I've never felt unsafe around here. So I'm definitely seeing a lot of less homeless people. We definitely saw some, in the Pioneer Courthouse Square. Before you saw a lot of tents and stuff. I didn't see any tents there right now, but I did see some homeless people. But is this a dumpster fire city? Is it everything going to shit? No, from my point of view, it's not. And let's talk about the safety a little bit. Now, I know there are a lot of people in Portland that haven't had a great experience, and it's been really hard for them. If maybe they've lived in areas and pockets around downtown or around Portland that experienced a lot of vandalism or vagrancy, and we did have a big uptick in that. And we do have a big uptick in violent crime from what we had before. I think it's about doubled from what it was pre-COVID. But I'm hopeful that those numbers will start to come down with a lot of the initiatives and programs that the city has put into place to start taking action. And I truly believe that the city is what you put into it. Now, Portland always tops the list in top cities for foodies and some of the best foods. It's always in the top 10 cities in the whole US, if not in the top 5. And for the size of the city, being this medium-sized city, we rank number 26 in the US in size. That's saying something. That means a lot. I mean, we like our food, and not just food, like good food. And a lot of those are on the east side of Portland and in and around downtown. So I think you're still going to get that drive of people coming from the suburbs wanting to come downtown, especially as the numbers get better for petty crime, as the homeless situation gets better and more people get put into housing and into beds and off the streets. I think as all that stuff improves, more and more people are going to come downtown. As the city reinvests, gives tax breaks for companies to come back downtown. So I definitely see it all in the works right now. It's happening. It's going on right now. Again, my name's Aaron Cullen. I'm a local real estate agent. So if you guys are thinking about moving here, go ahead and reach out. Whether it's next week or next year, it's never too soon to get a little bit more information, find out, hey, what pockets might be good for you, and we can connect and get into that a little bit deeper. If you guys found this video helpful, next up is the pros and cons of Portland, Oregon.